Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Hope you are fine, doing well. I welcome you all to another session of the online video lecture series for the subject of International Financial Management or the International Finance. Today we'll have lecture number 2 of the chapter number 2, and our lecture is Factors Affecting International Flow of Funds. So let's see what are the factors which affect international flow of funds. I hope and I'm sure that you guys will know what does international flow of funds mean and how this international flow of funds takes place, because we have discussed this in great details in our previous lectures. I'll summarize it into a few words. Simply we can say international flow. By international flow of funds we mean the flow of funds resulting from the international trade, the foreign direct investment, the foreign portfolio investment, the payments, the transfers by immigrants, by provision of payments received from provision of services, payments made as a result of grants, loans, unilateral or bilateral. All of these transactions result in the international flow of funds. Flow of funds means money coming in to a country and going out of a country. If a money is coming into a country, it will come from another country. That country could be one or more than one. If money is going out of a country, so that going money out of a country could be to another one country or maybe to multiple countries. So that is called international flow of funds. So when this flow happens, it could be as a result of international business, trade, foreign direct investment, foreign portfolio investment, joint ventures, franchising, licensing, purchasing financial securities, purchasing fixed assets or selling fixed assets in a country. Whatever could be the reason, we have to know what factors affect the flow of these funds. So that's we are going to discuss in our today's lecture. So let's begin. Causes. First, as I earlier discussed, what causes international flow of funds? There are three main causes. Number one, international trade. Number two, international portfolio investment. And number three, direct foreign investment. IPI, DFI, ITF, right? Or there could be some other causes as well, as I earlier mentioned. It could be payments to foreigners as a result of their service provision or as a result of their investments in financial assets, or maybe provision of grants or receipt of grants. Those are also the causes of international flow of funds. So let's see what are the factors that affect international trade flow. International trade flow. Number one, trade flow means flow of funds resulting from international trade. What are the factors which affect the flow of funds from the international trade? International trade means export or imports of goods and services. So the first factor which affects is the inflation. Number two, national income. Number three, restrictions by the government. And number four is the exchange rates. So let's discuss them one by one. What is inflation? Inflation is basically a relative increase in a country's inflation rate will decrease its current account as imports increase and exports decrease. So inflation always has a negative effect on the international trade. If a country faces inflation, inflation basically means overall increase in general prices of the goods and services, overall increase. and that is called inflation. So when inflation takes place in a country, so it will decrease the exports, because commodities, the general prices of the goods and services will increase. So the countries who import or who purchase goods and services from this country, the demand will be discouraged, because this country's commodities, means goods and services, are high in price, so no one will purchase. When no one will purchase, the exports will relatively decrease. This decrease in exports automatically results in increase in imports. Although imports may not be increased practically, but it increased theoretically. For example, if before in a country exports were 5 million and imports were say 4 million, means that before the country was in good condition, they were exporting more than they were importing, right? So now if the inflation takes place, the commodities, means goods and services in this country, the prices of these will increase, so the demand will be discouraged, so no one will purchase from this country. So let's say before the purchase was 5 million took place. Now this year the purchase of how much? The purchase of 3 million takes place. So what is the result? The result is import is the same. The country is not importing more, it's still importing for 4 million, but the export has decreased to 3 million. Now what is the difference between the exports and imports? It's 1 million difference, right? So that's how inflation affects the international trade, international flow of funds from the trade. Number 2 is national income. Relative increase in the national income level will decrease its current account as imports increase. So that is also a factor which increases the flow of funds from the trade. In a country, if the national income of the country increases, means the population of a country becomes wealthy and their income increases. So instead of purchasing their local product, they will go ahead, they will go for luxury products, they will go for imported products, resulting in an increase in imports of the country. So when imports increase, export will definitely decrease, and it will have a negative effect on the current account or the balance of payments. Government restrictions. A government may reduce its country's imports by imposing tariffs or on imported goods, or by enforcing quota. Sometimes in order to encourage the local industry, in order to grow and develop the local industry, government increases exports, tariffs and taxes on the imported goods. So when taxes and tariffs are increased on the imported goods, as a result the prices go very high. So people are discouraged to buy the imported goods, rather they are encouraged to buy the local goods. So as a result, imports decrease and exports increase. So this also have positive maybe or maybe negative result effect on the flow of funds from the international trade. Okay, exchange rate. Exchange rate is also one of the factors which has a positive or maybe a negative result effect on the trade flow from international trade. If a country's currency begins to rise in value, its current account balance will decrease as imports increase and exports decrease, right? For example, if we will take the example of Afghanistan. If the value of an Afghani increase against dollar or maybe against Pakistani rupee, So the Pakistani traders will not purchase from Afghanistan. They will not purchase Afghani products because before they had, for example, 1 million Pak rupees. From those 1 million Pak rupees, they were able to purchase, let's say, of 6 lakh worth of commodity in Afghanistan. But when Afghani value is increased against Pakistani currency, let's say before 1 million kaldar was equal to 70,000 Afghani. Now 1 million kaldar equals to 40,000 Afghani. So what will happen? The Pakistani traders, they will not be able to 4 lakh. They will not be able to purchase more from Afghanistan. So as a result, the exports will decrease and imports will increase, right? So against this, Afghani traders, they will be able to purchase more from Pakistan because Afghani currency has more value than Pakistani currency. So if we reverse this example, it will be quite clear to you. For example, before a person having 6 lakh could purchase the goods and services worth 1 million Pakistani. So now, as Afghani value has increased, a person having 4 lakh, even a person having 4 lakh can purchase goods and services of worth 1 million Pakistani rupees from Pakistan. So this will encourage the traders to purchase commodities from Pakistan. So between Pakistan and Afghanistan, in Afghanistan, exports will decrease and imports will increase. But in Pakistan, exports will increase and imports will decrease. So that is how exchange rates have positive or negative effect on the flow of funds. Remember, it's the international currency against which a country's currency is devalued or value increases or value decreases. It's not it's not the international currency which devalues or gains the value. It's your local currency which gains value or loses value, and for that there are various factors, right? Okay, now let's talk about the factors which affect the flow of funds from international portfolio investment. First, let me explain what is portfolio investment. Portfolio investment is deployment or investments of funds in the financial assets of the other country or in the financial assets, which is securities, bonds, shares of on the international market of the other countries. So, right, that's called portfolio investment. For example, I have $1 million. I purchase bonds, governmental bonds or national, or we can say municipality bonds, or of American government and Chinese government, Malaysian government. I invest my money in that. So it's a portfolio now. I have bonds of different nations or different countries. It becomes a portfolio. If one investment I lose, in the other investment I gain. So it settles my loss in one investment by other investment. So that's called portfolio investment. Similarly, if I have $1 million and I invest in purchasing the financial assets of different companies on international market, for example, I purchase some assets of the Microsoft, some assets of the Facebook, some assets of the Google, some assets of the Apple. So I have a portfolio of 4 different financial assets or 4 different shares of different multinational corporations. This investment is called portfolio investment. So when I purchase, I pay money and when I sell, I receive money. So there is always flow of funds coming into the country and coming out of the country. So there are three factors which affect the portfolio investment. Number one, tax rates on interest or dividend. So tax rate. Tax is a compulsory payment made by the residents of a country to the government. It's a certain portion that is charged by the government from all the residents of a country, whether national or foreigners, and that's a certain portion, certain percentage. In Afghanistan, it's 20%. So tax rates always has an effect on the flow of funds. If tax rates increase, it will definitely have a negative impact. If tax rate decrease, it will have a positive impact. Investors will normally prefer countries where the tax rates are relatively low. Why there is more investment in UAE or in other countries where tax rates are low? It's because UAE was before tax-free zone, so all the people from around the world, they brought in their money to UAE, and they invested their money in the stock exchange of the UAE. It's because of the tax rates. The government did not charge any money from the payments that the investors received as a dividend or as an interest. So that's why people started investing there. So now they have started charging taxes, which has resulted in discouraging the investments to invest in UAE financial market, right? And governments do this for a purpose. They have a purpose behind that, in order to put the flow of funds on a certain direction. They increase or decrease the tax rates. Next is the interest rates. Interest rates also have a positive or negative impact on the flow of funds. Money tends to flow to the countries where high interest rates are given. So for example, a country where there is high interest rate, people with a lot of money, they will invest their money, their funds in that country. They will put their money in those banks because they pay them high interest. But if a country reduces its interest rate, so the people will take out all their money and they will look for another country where the interest rate is high. So interest rates always has a positive or a negative impact on the flow of funds. If we increase our interest rate, means we start paying more interest on the money which people brings into the country and invests in the country or gives us loan. So all the people from around the world will bring in their money, and inflow of funds will take place. If we increase the interest rate, so the demand will be discouraged and people will take out their money to other country where they pay more interest rate than us. So it will result in outflow of the funds. Exchange rates, it also has a impact, as I earlier discussed. Foreign investor may attract if local currency is expected to strengthen. If a local currency is strengthened, so foreign investors may be attracted, because a strong currency shows a relative stability, economic stability in a country. So a country with strong exchange rate against the international currency shows the economic stability. So in a country where there is economic stability, people tend to invest more there, because they believe that the country economy is stable. So if they invest, their money will be safe. They will not lose their money. So that's also one of the factors affecting the portfolio investment. Now let's talk about the third one, factors which affect the direct foreign investment, flow of funds from direct foreign investment. Number one is changes in this restriction. If a government removes restriction in opening a new business, restriction in on check and balance on the people's money or source of income, so usually those countries receive a lot of direct foreign investment. For example, in Afghanistan, if you bring for example $1 million or $2 million from other country, so the government will start questioning you, from where did you bring this money, have you paid taxes or not. So if there are more restrictions, people will not bring money to Afghanistan, because the people are scared of questioning about their money. But if there are no restrictions against Afghanistan, if you look at Turkey these days, there are less restrictions on from the government side, so people around the world have started investing in Turkey because they have no restrictions. People who invest to $100,000 there, they give them permanent resident, they give them a lot of other opportunities. So now people with money, they are going there, they are purchasing there, they are doing business there, they are giving their monies to Turkey businessmen, and they have started investing in Turkey, and that's how the foreign direct investment of Turkey has gone up. There is increase. But if they start putting restrictions, people, for example, now UAE, they have started putting restrictions, so that's why people have now changed their have shift their investment behavior from UAE to Turkey. So most of the people now have started investing in Turkey. So that was how restrictions affect the flow of funds from direct foreign investment. Privatization. The second factor is privatization. Direct foreign investment has also been simulated by the selling of government operations. So the more there is privatization, the more the flow of funds will come. The less there is privatization, the less flow of funds will take place, right? Now, before, I'll give you an example of Saudi Arabia. Before, in Saudi Arabia, there was less privatization. Everything was owned by the government, but that's why people they were not willing to invest in Saudi Arabia. But now they have started privatization, and now anyone can take their money, invest their money in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The government will not have intervention, will not own their properties. So that's why the direct foreign investment has started increasing in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Remember, there's all these factors, when they increase or decrease, there is a purpose behind that. Government usually do it for a purpose, in order to encourage or discourage the demand or the flow of funds, in order to shift or change the behavior of the flow of funds from more to less, or from less to more. Potential economic growth. Countries with higher potential economic growth are more likely to attract foreign investment. For example, if a country is in a economic growth stage, there are a lot of opportunities. Mostly people try to invest in those countries. The countries where there are less opportunities, and the country where businesses are well established, and the business market has been captured already by the businessmen, so their new entry is very hard or impossible. So direct foreign investment is less in those countries. The countries like Afghanistan, there is more investment opportunities, because Afghanistan is yet to develop. There are a lot of developmental projects. If the peace is there, you will see dramatic change in the direct foreign investment in Afghanistan. More foreigners will come to Afghanistan, and they will do business in Afghanistan. They will invest their money, so it will increase. tax rates. So, as earlier discussed, if the government charges more taxes from the corporations, there will be less direct foreign investment. If the government charges less taxes, there will be more direct foreign investment. Exchange rates also. If a country's currency is expected to strengthen and it's a sign of economic stability. So a country with economic stability attracts the direct foreign investment. A country with the unstable currency and unstable economy cannot attract the direct foreign investment. So as a result, there is less direct foreign investment. So these were the factors affecting the direct foreign investment. So we basically discussed three causes of international flow of funds, and then we studied how in each cause there are some factors which affect the international flow of funds, and there was a positive and negative impact on that, and I discussed why and how these factors impact. Right? Thank you so much for being with me. That's all for today's lecture. Inshallah, I'll see you in the next lecture. If you have any questions, any concerns, please come back to me with your questions. I'll be more than happy to help you out with those questions and provide you the replies and answers to satisfy your question. Thank you so much. Bye now.